Stop laughing, I'm trying to fight you!
Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga, stars Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams and tells the story of two Icelandic singers who win their way into the Eurovision Song Contest and all the ups and downs of going into a contest like this, the romantic tension between the two of them, the crazy shenanigans they all get into, and I'm disappointed by this movie. Now, there's one thing to know about me. I love Will Ferrell's comedies. I think that they can be incredibly funny even when they're bad movies. It's because of him that can really help hold them up because he is just incredibly talented. He is absolutely hilarious. Like, The House was not that great of a movie, but him and Amy Poehler, their chemistry and their performances, delivery of comedic timing were just really good and helped the film actually be funny despite not being that great. And here, even though he co-wrote the movie, and while he is great, same as Rachel McAdams, it misses like so much, and it's also too long. There's a bit more to that. So when it comes to the plot of this, it's basically every like big song contest type movie where it's people tell them like, no, you're bad, you can't do this, and then they prove them wrong, and then they get in, and then there's rival singers that try to tear them down, and romantic tension, split apart, get together, all that stuff, and the big finale with an emotional speech, just it feels cliched, but the problem is with other Will Ferrell movies like Step Brothers, where it takes a cliched story and turns the insanity up to 11 and knows that it's insane and goes with it, it works well. And you don't care about that the plot is generic because it's making fun of the generic plot. But here, it only does that a few times. I mean a few times. In this 2-hour movie, so much of it is played too safe, and I don't understand why. When it goes to those insane moments, that it's hilarious. It's great. There's a couple of insane moments planted throughout the movie that's just that's great. Give me more of that. But they don't. And I don't know if it was because they were scared to or whatnot, but I don't know. And this comes from the same director of Wedding Crashers, and that's a pretty insane comedy. And even with Will Ferrell also in that movie, same as Rachel McAdams, they both play their parts great in that movie. Here, they also still play them great, but again, they just don't take it to those insane levels that it needed to go to really stand out and be even funnier than it is. Don't get me wrong, this movie is funny. Like I said, those insane moments, they're absolutely hilarious. And there's definitely a lot of great one-liners from a lot of people in this movie that can, be funny and definitely get a good laugh out of a lot of people. But it needed to go to those insane levels. And without going to those insane levels, it feels generic, and it doesn't feel like the way that it should, if that makes sense. Cast is great in this. Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams are great. And one of my favorite performances that, again, I wish it had a bit more to it, was Dan Stevens as this Russian, not operatic singer, but almost kind of like that. That's just he almost takes it to 11, and it's great every time he's on screen. But again, like with the comedy, I just wish that he took it to those insane levels, because the character is very exaggerated and definitely crazy in a sense, but it's not, I don't think it's his fault. I think it just might be the script just didn't really get there, and then the direction just wasn't, they again played it too safe when they really shouldn't have, especially by the end when you find out other things about his character. It's you could have done so much more with that, but they didn't. Dan Stevens, though, is always great in everything. There is one standout thing in this movie. It is the songs, and the songs fucking slap. Will Ferrell is a great singer. He always is. And interestingly, Rachel McAdams didn't do the singing for this. An Icelandic singer whose name I don't remember, but the name is there, as well as who she is. Fucking fantastic. The songs that they did in the movie were absolutely fantastic, even though sometimes they could be a little bit stupid, but that was kind of the point. But then, the final song is just breathtaking. And I think why they didn't cast the actual singer or someone that is a well-known talented singer in the lead role was because they needed an actress that could do comedy really well, and Rachel McAdams is an actress that could do comedy really well. So in this case, it makes sense to cast an actual actress / comedian for it rather than a singer. Whereas in something like The Greatest Showman with Rebecca Ferguson's character, where they dubbed her, it felt like they could have actually gotten an actual singer. Which I'm willing to bet Rebecca Ferguson is a singer, just not to the levels of her character in the movie. So, and the character doesn't really have much, so you could have gotten an actual singer for that, but they didn't. So there it feels odd, but here it makes sense because so much of the performance is comedy and singing is definitely there. It's just not like the biggest of the main focuses of what's important to the character. What's important is the comedy, the delivery of it, and how she interacts with everyone else. So getting Rachel McAdams made sense, and since Will Ferrell can sing, it also makes sense. So, good casting choices. Why is it every time I see either a music biopic, a concert movie like this, or just something like Rocket Man, why is it they can always one-up Disney's live-action remake musical numbers? It's not technically important to this, but they're shot really well here. They're done in a very exaggerated and musical kind of way. It's not a musical, don't mistake my words, but like, the director of this has also directed a ton of music videos, so he definitely has that eye and that vision for how like the songs need to be portrayed, how they need to move, how they need to reflect, and other things like that. And for some ungodly reason I haven't figured out yet, the Disney live-action musical numbers are just standing and singing la 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 la, sing, and that's it. But here you get like crazy shit like this. Like, you don't have to go to those levels, but they did, and it makes it stand out because they do. And so many other movies, like I mentioned, like Rocket Man, like, stand out because they do more with their musical numbers than Disney does. Like, I will always complain about this, but Disney, you gotta step up your game. If something like Eurovision is kicking your ass in musical numbers, you might be doing something wrong with your directors. I think this film is too long. It's 2 hours, and by the time you get to the hour mark, it seems like that we're supposed to be at the end, but we're not. There's still an hour left. It's just like, oh, you're doing this, but you're really stretching it out. And it feels annoying that it does that because you already know where it's going to go, and the film knows where it's going to go, so it shouldn't have to stretch itself out so much, but it does. And at least for me, it was annoying, like, checking the time, seeing, oh, I still have an hour left. I thought we were about to be near the end. You're going to do that, movie. I don't like that. And, like, for some people, it might not matter, but for me, I don't think this needed to be 2 hours. There's definitely, you could have cut some stuff, you could have shortened stuff, you could have rewritten the script a bit, and just, like, it could have been, like, pretty good if it was shorter, but it just feels drawn out, it feels longer. It's just like, come on, we know you're going to go there, so just go there already. It takes forever to get there, then it has the other thing it has to get to. It's just like, you're driving me crazy, movie. Can you please just already get to there so we can get there and then get to the end? Like, at a certain point, it just gets kind of tedious, because we already know where it's going to go, and yet the film continues to draw itself out, and it's just annoying. I think if the movie was like an hour and a half, and like it went more with the insane comedy and like, the self-awareness of it, it could have been great. But to me, it was a disappointment. Overall, I think Fire Saga was fine. It's average. Performances are good. The music is great. The way it's shot is fantastic. But the story is just so painfully average that it's just like, you could have done something great here. You could have been so self-aware and so hilarious, but you just weren't. And it's such a disappointment because you can see the potential there. It even has that potential in certain parts, but it just doesn't go there. Now, for some, it might not matter. They might find it hilarious, and that's great if you do. But for me, I expected more because Will Ferrell has been able to deliver so many fantastic and insane movies. But here, I don't know what happened. It just wasn't what it should have been. I'm going to give Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga, a 5 out of 10. I really wanted to love this movie. From the first music video that was released to the trailer, I was like, you know what? This looks like it's going to be another fun, insane comedy, but it sadly wasn't. So that was my review of Fire Saga. What did you think of the movie? Did you think it was hilarious? Did you think I'm wrong? Let me know down in the comments below, because I'm always curious to see what other people think of movies. So check out other movie reviews, Let's Plays, all the other cool stuff I do, and I will see you all next time.